Martin, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thank you.
We're slowly approaching Holy Week now, and that's reflected in the readings. We get to Passion Tide, as it's called, on Sunday, and we've got John 12, 20 to 33. So tell us about your reflections on this passage.
So first of all, it's we have this reading on Sunday, this gospel reading on Sunday, and then we have it again for the Tuesday of Holy Week. So, and of course, it's slightly out of sequence on both occasions, because actually it immediately follows Jesus's entry into Jerusalem. So the Palm Sunday reading in John. But I'm struck by a couple of things here in this passage. The first is the significance of the Greeks. So Jesus has said earlier in John 10, talked about there are sheep that are not of this fold. And so you've got this strand in John of the gospel being opened up to the Gentiles. So here you have proselytes coming to worship, but who are Greeks, therefore Gentile. This is a sign. It's part of the sign that the hour is coming, because they want to see. And of course, in John's language, wanting to see is wanting to believe in. So, sir, we want to believe in Jesus. And we get this enigmatic response, but it is the response to the question or the statement, we want to believe in Jesus. Jesus then talks about what believing in Jesus means, and therefore about the grain falling in the ground and dying, and it's only through death that fruitfulness comes. So that's one of the key dimensions of this passage. But the other one that struck me is that, of course, it's John's Gethsemane. John has no Gethsemane scene. There's no scene with Jesus and the disciples falling asleep and Jesus praying, Father, take this cup away from me. It's in this one that he says, right after this encounter, or Philip's encounter with him and the Greeks, that Jesus says, now my soul is troubled. What do I say? Father, take this away from me. And you've got the same dynamic that's going on in the Gethsemane scene, but here happening in seemingly a very public place. He's still in the temple precincts. And so there's something about that exposure of, if you like, his doubt, his questioning, his apprehension, fear even, in quite a public setting. And one of the things that strikes me, and maybe this is just about how I read John, but it's very easy to read John, to read the Jesus of John as this very self-possessed, sort of slightly above it all. It's all, the scene is set by the prologue. This figure who yes, is human, but his divinity is so clearly there that the humanity is almost subsumed. And so you have that scene in the Kidron Valley when the soldiers come to arrest him. They ask him if he is the one they're looking for. He says, I am. And of course, that great I am sends them reeling backwards. So you get the sense of this a powerful figure. Which I'm sure is true, but what we lose in that is his humanity, and we construct an understanding of Jesus around the powerful figure of John, the one who does not seem to be bereft on the cross, who is self-possessed enough to say, Mother, here is your son, and to say simply, it is finished. But then you have this very public, seemingly public display of doubt, of apprehension, of anxiety. And I found myself with that, then going back and just reflecting on other moments in John's gospel where that humanity is there, and then you start to get a different sense of this journey that we're on towards the cross. John's gospel. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. There's a caricature, isn't there? That this is kind of like his divinity is so writ large that actually it squeezes out the humanity, and therefore there's no real identification for us with him. But actually, when you look at it more carefully, as you are doing in this passage, you see, no, there is a real human being here struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What's your perception of this?
Well, like you, for the registering that this is John's Palm Sunday escapade, if you add up the days, and just before this passage, Jesus has been acclaimed as the King of Israel, and huge crowds, it says, have come to see him because he's raised Lazarus. So, and the Pharisees have just thrown up their arms in despair, saying, "Oh, the whole world is going after him." So it looks a lot like what the world might call glory, yeah, success. He has performed, and if we're entirely honest, the idol of glory and success and of performance is one that can assail most of us. And therefore, in some ways, when you would have thought he's made it, he's arrived in Jerusalem to all of this, it's a bit odd, his prayer in a way. Now my soul is troubled. And shall I say, Father, save me from this hour? No, Father, glorify your name. No, it's for this hour that I came. Father, glorify your name. And coming back to your point about the humanity of Jesus, I think it's helpful for me and helpful for us to realize that Jesus at least considers the phrase, shall I say, save me from this hour? Because actually, like the rest of us, he realizes that worldly glory is often very much what we're after. Thank you very much. But, he doesn't say, he didn't pray, Father, save me from this hour. And it makes us possible also for us not to pray that as well, if you see what I mean, to reject the kind of me first prayer, to the self-serving prayer, to the avoiding the cost prayer. So it's first the kind of no in his prayer, and then it's the yes. Save me from this hour. No. Father, glorify your name. Yes. And there's something here again about John, and it's a big theme in John, about redefining glory, and Jesus redefining what glory looks like. Glorify your name. And the Greeks are there, as you say. They've come in, they're pursuing Jesus and wanting to, no doubt have their photos taken with this wonderful rabbi who, promises so much. And what does he do? He talks about death. And, now the hour has come. The hour here is the time to die. And it seems that Andrew and Philip need to be telling the Greeks to go back home and take pictures of the Parthenon instead or something, because Jesus is only going to disappointment. Now, it's a bit of a caricature, but there's something about here. But the glory of Jesus is not conspicuous. It's not glamorous, and it's certainly not attractive. It involves isolation. It involves abandonment. It involves sacrifice, and it involves death being undertaken for the sake of the joy that was before him. In other words, for us. And so in redefining the glory, the other thing to say about this is it's not Jesus acting on his own. It's the only prayer in John's gospel, and it's the only prayer I think in the New Testament when we hear the Father speak in Jesus' prayer, saying the same thing effectively. I have glorified it, and I will glorify it again. This is undertaken together. This is a glory which they are undertaking together. And for us to discern the glory of the sacrificial love in it is something that we obtain presumably only by the witness of the Holy Spirit with our spirit within us. So I was the theme of glory was where I was with it.
And the interesting thing about that just strikes me, just linking up with some of the things I was thinking. What in seeing Jesus's humanity, we see him in his body, and we see him as he is in his body. And this is a body that is going to be racked with pain. It's a body that's going to die. And so we're in this scene, I think, drawn right in, away from the superficial glory that you were talking, the worldly glory, the acclaim of the crowd, and, you know, isn't this going well? Taken away from that to what is actually happening to him in his, you know, human body as a person. And there is and that's again, I think for a lesson for us to be much more attentive to each other in our, you know, in our humanity, in every inch of our humanity, and not being lured by, you know, the external, the perception, the glory that may accrue to this person or that person. There's something about reality in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.